episode is brought to you by Oxenham Group. Disengaged employees cost U.S. companies up to $550 billion per year, and a recent Gallup poll showed that only 33% of the U.S. workforce considers itself engaged. How are you ensuring that the people you hire are engaged? The Oxenham Group is a recruiting company that focuses on why a person takes a job and what makes them stay. They do this by understanding one's motivation, skills, and personal mission. Oxenham's proprietary process focuses on three main areas: sociologist-prepared questions, IBM Prove It assessments, and Gallup Clifton Strengths. The combined results give the interviewer valuable insight into the potential for close alignment and the likelihood of engagement. Reach out today to learn more about how you can identify highly engaged people and harness the power of alignment with Oxenham Group. For more information, please call 605-610-3026 or visit their website at oxenhamgroup.com.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Canopy Cast. This is John Michael Price. With me are my two co-hosts, Christopher McGurn and Michael O'Connor. Today, we have a special guest, Brian Schulman. Brian, I know you said you had a short story that your daughter wrote about you to kind of give the audience and us an idea about who you are, how you've gotten to where you are today, and just to kind of introduce yourself. And we'd love to hear that. I know none of us have heard that yet, so I'm excited to see what you have.
Yeah, absolutely. And Michael and John Michael and Christopher, we were making a joke. We should always name ourselves Michael because it's easier. But yeah, absolutely. And I'm humbled and honored to be here with you guys. Appreciate you reaching out. It's great to be a guest in the show. So basically I was sitting in my home office upstairs, and this was sorry, I'm hearing noises. Sheltered in place. So yeah, I'm not sure what's going on. But basically I was sitting in my home office, and my daughter's a freshman in college. Right now, she's a freshman in college. She was a senior, and my son is a junior in high school right now. And so when she was a senior in high school, she had walked into my office and just handed me a piece of paper, and at the top of it, it said four-way speech contest essay. And I didn't know what this was. And she just sat down in a chair next to me and basically was saying, "Hey, I want you to read this. I'm going to hang out." So, so it's entitled Live to Inspire. And I think this will answer the question a little bit. So this story sorry, my son's walking in from outside.
Don't worry. This story, there's the answer for the mysterious noises, right? Yeah, you're over there like all work and no play makes Brian a dull boy.
we understand. We're pro family here. We understand.
There you go. So all right. So like I said, it's entitled Live to Inspire. And bear with me because I've yet to get through this without losing it. So we'll see how I do. So this story about to be told is about an extraordinary man, now 42 years young, who accepted all the obstacles life had to throw at him. Now, I know you may be thinking that everyone has different obstacles they just overcome throughout their lifetime. So how is he different from you and I? What makes this particular man different from you and I is the tactic he used when faced with these obstacles. What makes him different from you and I is that he took these obstacles and used them to help make a difference and inspire others to never let life get in the way of their greatness and achievements. What makes us different from everyone else is not the obstacles life throws at us, but what we do when faced with these obstacles. Will you choose to accept defeat, or will you choose to persevere? On May 13th, 1975, a child was born in Cedars-Sinai Medical Center in Los Angeles, California. This child was born 3 months early, weighing 1.5 pounds, and because of that, was a premature baby. During the early 80s, he was diagnosed with a neurological disorder called Tourette syndrome, which is a type of tic or involuntary repetitive movement and vocalization disorder. One day at camp, the counselor had to take this young boy to a payphone, tears streaming down his face, to call his mother because his neck was constantly snapping to one side over and over and over again. He went to various doctors who performed countless medical examinations to try and find a cure for his disorder. Every doctor said the same thing: "He's fine, he'll grow out of it." And one day in 5th grade, he stood up in front of his entire class and shared with them what Tourette syndrome was and what living with Tourette syndrome was like. A huge weight was lifted off his shoulders once he shared his story with his classmates, and it generated many supporters, whether they be friends, parents, or teachers. Finally, a specialist at UCLA told him that he would never be able to get rid of this disorder alone, and suggested that he take a special drug called clonidine to help with his tics. Unfortunately, with this drug came horrible side effects. He made a conscious decision after a few years not to take the pills and to try and master his condition through focus and determination. After a while, the tics started to diminish, and for the most part, they went away. No one knows what life has in store for them. All we can do is live until we're forced to face an obstacle in which we must make a choice to either overcome or accept defeat. The Rotary 4-Way test demonstrates how one person can make a difference in the lives of others. With the experiences this boy had to face came a life lesson. With determination, perseverance, and support from others, anything can happen. Now, at 42 years young, this man chooses to use his story to make a difference in others' lives by inspiring people in times of uncertainty. He implements the Rotary's motto, service before self, by finding light in those who cannot find it in themselves, supporting them through their tough obstacles. He helps lift people's spirits and hopes in times of hopelessness and despair. He helps people turn their ideas and dreams into realities. He helps build people from the ground up in hopes that they too will one day share their stories with others. He makes a difference in this world each and every day, which inspires others to make a difference as well. Who, may you ask, is this man? Well, he is my father. Out of all the lives he's made the biggest difference in, I believe he's made the biggest difference in mine. He inspires me never to give up on what I believe in, to always do what makes me happy. But most importantly, to always live every day as if it were the last, because we're never guaranteed a tomorrow. As Gandhi once said, be the change you wish to see in the world, making a difference in the lives of others is my dad's change. What will be yours? Like I said, I was just sitting in my office and she just walks in and puts this in front of me. And we had a good cry together after and hugged it out for a while. And, you know, being a parent, and my daughter's going to be 20 in September. This was January of 2018. And I don't know, I think no matter what age your kids are, that's everything. So I wanted to share that with you because before that happened, I would share my story because people want me to share the story, and then that happened, and I just think it's so much more powerful when it comes from, especially if it comes from one of your children. So
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. That's a beautiful testament to know how you have touched your kids' lives and affected them. And that's incredible.
Like I'm honestly speechless.
Wow.
That was very, very powerful. And like John Michael just mentioned, like I really appreciate that.
no, you're
The
so
vulnerability,
welcome.
it's beautiful just to hear the story, and it's
Mhm.
very inspirational. It's really an incredible testament to who you are. So thank you so much for sharing that.
No, you're so welcome. And we were talking about this earlier. I get a question a lot that comes up, and it's especially from people on LinkedIn, because that's where I've been every day for the last 16 and a half years. And it's, how are you so positive about it all the time? Like, how do you do that? And I think it's kind of, understanding some of the story, right? I always say that coming from where I have and literally fighting for every breath to make it into this world as a miracle baby that wasn't supposed to live, and then being diagnosed with a neurological disorder, Tourette's, and being the weird kid and different and dealing with a lot of adversity and bullying growing up, I wanted to give out the opposite of the negative that I had received by others around me. And don't get me wrong, I mean, I had tons of positivity around me, but I think, and even now in the times that we're in with the pandemic more than ever, right? I think we realize that sometimes one negative can overshadow 1,000 positives. It can be hard. But I had something flip in my head, and this was more like into my high school time, where it was, I wanted to be a giver of good and light and positivity and strength and encouragement and love. And I certainly know that life is 10% what happens to me and 90% how I react to it. And I know every breath I take is a gift. And I certainly know that I failed way more than I've succeeded in life and in business and being business owners. I'm sure you can appreciate that too. And yet I've learned from every step, right? And then I've gotten up every time and I've dusted myself off and kept going. And that is why I've succeeded no matter the outcome, because, coming to a place like LinkedIn, and I bleed blue and white, LinkedIn all over me. 16 and a half years ago, my purpose was to give out good to the universe. That no matter how bad my day was, no matter what was going on in my life, that I would give out good 365 days a year with the hopes to achieve my why. And I always say it's so important for every single one of us human beings on this planet to have a why, and it's got to be from here. And my why is to inspire one person a day. It always has been. Especially coming to a place like LinkedIn. And so for me, it's, if I could just inspire one person a day to chase their dreams, right? And know and believe that they can accomplish anything, or, get up after you've fallen 50,000 times and do it again, and know and believe in yourself that you can get back up and you can go again, and that you are succeeding, whether you reach that mountain way out in the distance with that peak that you can barely see because it's covered with clouds, right? That you are achieving your goal, whether you know it or not, or inspire someone to inspire someone else, or make somebody feel good when they don't, or put a smile on somebody's face, or help make somebody laugh when they don't think they have it in them and they really need it. Just any one of those things for one person a day, I have done my part as a human being to make the world a better place. And look, I know life continues and will continue to knock me down and throw me mad curveballs, like it honestly is everybody right now in the world that we're living in. And I will keep getting back up, and I will keep swinging, so to speak, at the plate, because as my mom had said to me, she showed me a picture of me on her lap as a baby. You see babies in their very first costumes, and usually it's a pea pod or something. And she had made this homemade lion costume. And I'm like, why a lion's costume of all things? Like, and I never knew this. She said, because you're a fighter. She said, because you live for every breath to make it in this world. So I think one will get up and fight in their own way, and keep getting up, and know that it's okay to feel everything you're feeling, and it's okay to not have answers, and it's okay to be scared, and but know that that you matter, and that you're not alone, and that you have a voice, and that you have a story, and that it can impact people's lives by showing up, and especially in a place like LinkedIn, because we're all there to support one another and lift one another up and encourage one another, and we're all growing through everything together, again, especially in the times that we're in. So
yeah, that's awesome. I feel like you very naturally just gave us the whole backstory and mission and vision of Voice Your Vibe, because the whole time you were talking, I was just, sitting there thinking about, your business and everything that it stands for. And it's awesome to see people, have businesses that kind of embody their own personalities and their own goals and what they stand for in the day to day. And I think you've done that really well.
Well, it's important, right? Because I mean, I always say it's the heart of it all that matters. I've been helping building and growing startups for over 20 years, and like when the heart is in it. Like every company, and again, as founders, you can relate to it as well as I can, right? It all comes from here. It wasn't, I want to make $1 billion. I want, it's, you want to change the world, right? All of us founders, we want to change the world in some way. And it's different for everyone, but it all comes from the heart. And, and you're right, because Voice Survive literally is a culmination of my life story up to now and for the future ahead, and the thing is it's, I mentioned being on LinkedIn every day for the last 16 and a half years. I mean, I found a voice inside of me I never knew I had. I had never done anything like that. Like it was my kids, it was my monkeys that they were on the other side. It was never facing me. And yeah, I grew up in LA and I did some modeling as a kid and a little tiny bit of acting, whatever, that kind of stuff. But I wasn't controlling that stuff. Like this, you have to control it all. You're the actor, the director, you have to do everything. You have to stare at yourself and speak and be human and feel and if you're going to edit and all of those things, right? And I was the greenest greenhorn ever. I didn't even realize that this world, especially, I didn't even know there were apps that existed for this kind of stuff, because again, it wasn't where I was entrenched. I was in a whole different place when it came to digital marketing.
Right.
So it's interesting because that story, nobody in the business world knew that with purpose. I mean, I can count on one hand the number of times I'd ever talked about that stuff growing up. And it was really only just if I thought it might help somebody. Now, I remember walking by a classmate in high school. I was coming up the stairs. He was coming down. And a classmate, I mean, we didn't really know each other all that well, but we knew each other. And he walked by and did 3 ticks, one right after the other. And I knew in an instant he had Tourette's. Like I knew it. And I went home to my mom and I said, one of my classmates has Tourette's. I have no doubt in my mind. What can we do? How can we help? Because I know everything we went through and how scary that was, going through that process and all the unknown and now he'll be fine doctors because they didn't have answers. And then finally UCLA, we got diagnosis, right? And it was so new back then in the 80s. And so long story short, we wound up being able to help, right? We wound up being able to get them to UCLA. But like somebody asked me on a show the other day, they're like, I don't remember how they framed it, but I guess what I said was, my Tourette's, I realized in that moment, was a gift. It was a gift because I was able to help someone else who had absolutely no idea what was going on in their life. They thought they were like I was, like I felt, weird, different, just wanted to blend in, like don't know what the heck's wrong with us, And so, but literally up until that point towards the end of 2017, when I made my first LinkedIn video, not only was I terrified, but and not knowing what I was doing, but the response from that, like I was inspired to share my story, because at that time that LinkedIn video launched, the Let's Get Honest campaign launched on LinkedIn, and it was all about just get honest, like share something about you nobody knows. And it was really personal stories. And it was a much younger generation. I mean, I could be dad to some of these incredible human beings. Like that's how big, and it was really cool. It was so inspiring just because you hadn't seen this generation show up on LinkedIn, right? It was typically an older kind of generation. And it was really inspiring to see them show up. And it was really inspiring for them to hear their stories. And they were talking about agoraphobia and speech impediments. Some people were talking about rape. I mean, it was gut-wrenching, like really, really personal stories. And again, so inspiring at the same time. And it inspired me to want to share my story. And though it took me 5 months to muster up the courage and finally take the leap to get in front of the camera, I did share my story. And when I did, while I was terrified, because it was the first time I was sharing with the world, and at that time in front of 500 million people, again, nobody in the business world knew about any of that. And all the love and support and encouragement that I got, it literally changed my life. I've always said LinkedIn has changed my life so many times over the last 16 and a half years, but that was a really big inflection point for me, because it was the first time that I didn't look at weird and different in me as a bad thing. I looked at it as owning it, and that we're all weird and different in our own way. And it's a gift that we have, and we have the ability to relate and, you know, showing up and the way I finally got the courage to finally take the leap was look at it like every other startup I've helped build and grow, which is, it's completely unknown. You hedge your bets best you can, but I don't want to go back and go, what if? I don't want to look back and go, oh God, I wish I did that. I would rather fall, and only thing I'm losing is time because I'm learning and growing no matter what, than not have done it.
Yeah.
So, right. So
Yeah,
it's,
there's a quote that I heard a while ago, and I love to reference it. It's one of my favorite mantras. It's, I'd rather live a life of oh wells than what ifs, right? Like,
absolutely.
take the action, surrender the outcome, but like 10 times out of 10, I would rather, try it and fail than to not try it and wonder what would have happened. So
yeah,
I
100%.
what you're saying is completely exactly how I feel about it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
it's just
sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, so it's just this whole journey. Like, voice your vibe wasn't something that was even a thought in my mind. It wasn't anywhere. And just me taking the steps and going through this journey and not knowing what the heck I was doing and getting comfortable being uncomfortable one more time in my life, just like every other moment, and falling and failing and getting up and doing it again, and just realizing every day is day one. And I don't need to know what's going to happen. I just need to keep going. And because that's a question that would come up a lot amongst all of us pioneering LinkedIn video creators was, what are we doing? Like, why are we doing? It's like, you're asking the wrong questions. Like, we're doing it. Like, we're going to look back years from now and go, wow, look at what we all did together. Like, this is incredible. But the biggest part is the finding that voice, right? And attracting a tribe I never knew was there, and finding something inside of me I didn't know existed, and sharing very personal stories from my heart so that people get to know who I am. Like, that's what it's about. The video is so powerful. The only thing missing is I can't reach through and grab you guys through the screen, and I can't smell you because we don't have smell-o-vision yet. But I mean, but you you can.
That's
you can
the next step.
That is right. Can you imagine scratch and sniff on your screen? Like, oh my God.
Question is, do you want that? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, no, right. Seriously. But
especially right now with everyone stuck at home.
That's right. Everybody's glued to their screens, right? Yeah. But I mean, but you can touch people with your heart. And that's again, what it all comes back to, because that's what brings us all together. It's what inspires us to want to do something, create something.
Yeah. Listening to your story, there's another quote, is, you're not made for comfort, you were made for greatness. And, I love that quote, and it really reminded me of what you're talking about, what you're explaining. Like, despite what you go through, despite all the trials and all the difficulties, like, even though you were not made for comfort, you were made for greatness. And that's something you're striving to attain, and trying to help others do the same. And it's really, it's beautiful, and it's very powerful.
Well, and that's the part that it's all about, right? Is it's not about me. I love helping, like, Voice Your Vibe is about helping entrepreneurs and C-suite execs and founders and their teams, and who want to find their voice and show up when they don't know how, right? And it's teaching them how to find their voice and voice their vibe and attract their tribe, and how to tell a story that people will fall in love with on LinkedIn through native video or live video. Because it is the heart of it all that matters. And a lot of times, almost every single time, actually, there's always this, well, Brian, I'm not like you, I didn't almost die or deal with all this adversity. And I said, stop, like, you're discounting your story. Like, you have to understand that the most important thing is that, and I do have a degree in psychology. I won't get all psychobabble on you, but I did get it because I wanted to better understand myself, because I didn't. And I wanted to better understand human beings and why we treat people the way we do, because I didn't get that either. And I think the thing is that everyone has a voice and a story that matters. and a voice and a story that can positively affect, impact, and inspire another human being's life. And you can't discount that. Like you got it. And especially in a time now more than ever, right? We are all sheltered in place. We're all quarantined. For most people, it's been a month, if not longer. Everyone is glued to their screens. Everyone is uncomfortable for the most part in so many different ways, right? Folks that are used to going to an office are now sheltered in their homes. They don't know what to do. They haven't done this before. You know, how do I work in this environment? Everyone is in your home when normally that may not be the case, right? Kids are home from school and all these things. And I think the thing is it's all about the relatability part. You know, as human beings, we want to connect with one another and we want to relate to one another. We've always got triggers in the back of our heads that are like, hey, like you're listening for them. You're like, oh, you're going to be a dad. John Michael's going to be a dad soon for the first time. And like, boom, an immediate connection point, right? Like Christopher and John Michael and I, the three of us have had beards. Boom, there's a connection point, right? It's like, whatever it is.
Sorry, Mike.
You know, right? I mean, all four of us are wearing glasses. Like, you know, like there's just all those things. You're always looking for those connection points. And that's what brings us together, you know, as humans with a heartbeat. I always say human first, heart first. But it's really easy. It's really easy for us to discount. I didn't think I had a story, guys. As far as I was concerned, that was life, and I didn't need to talk about that because I didn't look at it that way. You know, most of us, that's the way we look. Who's going to care if I'm sitting on the couch with my dog and doing, you know, or like, you know, my kids, like I bring my monkeys in my videos all the time with me, you know, and why would you do something like that on a business social networking platform? Because it's about being human first. Like, and more importantly, think about how many millions of parents there are.
Yep.
Right. Yeah. Again, relatable, right?
I think that entire mindset, everything you've been talking about, is so crucial and so inspirational for the hard times that we're all in right now. I mean, it's been so sad to talk to people who have lost their jobs, lost their businesses. But I think, like you're saying, that humanity is so amazing. It's been amazing to see people's responses to across the world, to the virus, to just people's hardships. It's been amazing. And just the mindset that you have and you put forth to others, I think is so crucial for times like this.
Yeah. And it's incredible things happen when we come together, you know, and it's in times of crisis that you truly see people rise. You know, we truly do rise together. And, you know, one of the things I wanted to do too was just because in the times that we're in, I think there's a lot of people that realize, okay, we need to be seen and we need to be heard, but like, how do we do that? You know, and especially for people technologically, I mean, look at, we're on Zoom right now, right? We each see each other and we're in our own homes in different parts of the States and whatever. And like, in technology is incredible to allow us to be able to connect in this way. Right. And I say that because I've been on the internet since it was green screen in chat rooms, sitting on my mom's lap, learning how to type. Like, it hasn't been that long, really, but like, it's crazy how much we've evolved, even looking into like AI and such, right? So, but I do want, I want to share this because it's really important right now in these times. And I don't know when the show is going to be released, but we're going to be in the thick of this for a while. Mm-hmm. So, like, you know, LinkedIn is, I always say, go where the people are. Okay. Just in context, there's 675 million human beings on LinkedIn. Okay. From the founder to the funder to the chairman to the janitor and everybody in between. Now that was up 15 million over the course of 3 months since November.
Wow.
Of that 675 million, 250 million are quote unquote active. Like, you've got a profile and you're lurking. You're not creating any content or anything, but you're there, if you will. 1% is creating content, especially when it comes to video. Like, even if it was 50%, like, that's incredible. And when I say something like LinkedIn is the most organic platform on the planet, I'd probably say TikTok is next. And especially in the time that we're in, right? As I said, I think most people are thinking, I've got to show up, but I don't know where, I don't know how, you know, but I know I need to, because if I don't, especially if you're a brick and mortar and you have no online presence, right? But even if you do have an online presence, you still have to show up so that people know that you're there, right? They want to associate that human with a heartbeat to a business. So there's no question, I think, or if anybody has questions about whether or not you should be showing up on something like video, 85% of content consumed online is through video. It's probably 100% now, right? I mean, in the times we're in, it's very skewed. But videos help you build brand awareness. 90+% of folks use video to make product and service purchasing decisions. Yes. And from a social perspective, it's like 12 times the shares of text and image combined.
Yes.
Okay. So okay. You've got video, you got to do it, right? Okay. Well, now, like, where? And that was one of the things we were going to talk about, right? It's like, you've got so many social platforms out there, and it's incredible, right? It's a gift that we have given to us by these brands, by these companies, because they build a digital playground, and we as the kindergartens decide to go up, show up and play, right? And I say kindergartners because it's, when you're in kindergarten, there's no predispositions. It's right. Not, it doesn't matter where you come from, what you look like, what religion, what socioeconomic background. None of it matters. In kindergarten, it's just, we're all kids. Yep. And it's like, we're on the playground and Michael's in the dirt and Christopher's on the swings and John Michael's on the jungle gym and I'm on the slide or whatever. And John Michael looks at Christopher and goes, "Hey, you want to go on those three-wheelers over there?" And he's like, "Yeah." And then you look at like me and Michael and you're like, "Hey, you want to come too?" And again, we don't know each other, right? And all of a sudden we're like, "Yeah, let's go do it." And we're all best friends because in kindergarten, that's what happens, right? Yeah. And in a place like LinkedIn specifically, that is what it feels like, but whether it's YouTube or TikTok or Instagram or Twitter or Snapchat or, again, whatever digital playground you choose to play on, they all have their own predispositions, right? I mean, YouTube is like a mutt. You've got anybody and everybody there, and it's a mutt from business, like, because you just never know who's showing up from where, what, why. They just are showing up, right? Facebook is most commonly friends, family, old college buddies, what have you. And all of them have morphed in some way over time from a business perspective, right? Most of them all start out free, and then it's, oh, okay, and advertising is slammed in front of your face, which is how they monetize it, or it becomes membership centric or what have you, right? And so you can decide where you want to show up. However, that being said, with all these predispositions, LinkedIn predisposed of a business social networking platform, right? It's a digital resume and a place to look for a job. Okay, you have that in your head, you know that. And you know that people go there to do business in some form or fashion. Most people don't realize it's an engagement platform now. And yes. So that's one thing, right? It's that, okay, now it's an engagement platform. Great. Well, now what, right? Okay, go where the people are. Yes. Go there because people do business, or they know it's about business, it's centric. But the thing where people are falling short is, and I think where it's hard to comprehend, is that the toilet bowl is now flushing in the opposite direction. It's like, you don't show up in your proverbial suit and suit speak like we used to, right? Because before video, that's what we did. We were conforming, we were fitting in the box. That's how we were showing up. And then LinkedIn video broke the mold forever, for the good, human with a heartbeat for the first time. And it was about that. It was show up and be human, because if you just show up and talk about business, that'd be like me walking up to you guys in the room and we don't know each other and just handing you a contract and saying, "Sign this contract." And John Michael's like, "I'm sorry, how about we start over? I'm John Michael, what's your name?" But that's what happens. Like
I've had to unfortunately do that before. Yeah. Someone's come up to me and they just started talking to me like, "What do you think about this thing, that thing or whatever?" And, I like, in the most natural way possible, without trying to sound mean or anything, kind of, "Hey, what's your name?" Like, we missed that, like, very first step.
Yeah, connection, like that human to human connection. Yeah, but
yeah,
and so that
was gonna be. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say it happens. It happens. It happens digitally too, just because people don't think about that.
Yeah. So you were a pretty early adopter of LinkedIn. I mean, like, right there from the beginning. What about the platform, right up front, was kind of an indicator to you that that's where you wanted to be? That's where you wanted to spend your time, and that's where you were going to find, your tribe?
Yeah, it's a really good question. Well, because back then there were only about 1 million. The platform was a year old when I joined. There were only about 1 million people at that time. And again, now 675, it's probably more than that now. I had a gut feeling. I had a gut feeling at that time. Facebook was around. Facebook had come up and kind of consumed MySpace, because that's what had happened, right? MySpace blew up, and then Facebook popped up and took them over, basically, in terms of, overshadowing. And everybody was like, whoa, what's happening right now? And I didn't see another competitor, if you will, to a LinkedIn. Nobody was doing anything like that, even then, because and then it was just a digital resume and a place to look for a job. You could search for companies, you could search for people, you could hit a connect button, and you could have this digital resume. That was it. There was no way to engage in any form or fashion. DMs, posting, nothing. But I just felt, because especially since they grew 1 million people in a year, that's hyper growth.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I need to be here. And like I said, it wasn't about business for me. I wanted to inspire people. I didn't know how. And I love people, and I love helping people, and I love connecting people. I've always been a connector of people. And so I'm like, let's see how I can, where I can. And as it started to go, like the very first thing that opened was the ability to publish articles on LinkedIn. Now, I don't mean open. I mean the very first way of engaging, really, and sharing any type of content. And you had to be the who's who of the world in business, like the Bill Gates, the Bransons, like because they would invite you to publish. It was closed. Three huge impactful moments on LinkedIn: publishing articles, LinkedIn video, LinkedIn Live. And I've been fortunate to be part of the beta of each of those. And I remember when I got the invite for publishing, and I'm like, somebody hit a button by accident. Like, I'm just some guy. Like, why? Who's going to care what I was just a sales guy at a company. Like, who's going to care what I have to say? And so I sat on it. And then I was thinking, I'm like, well, what do I want to talk about? I don't want to talk about business, because I'm on boards. I advise startups and founders of co-founded companies, speak internationally. Like, a lot of that happened through my journey, right? And so I'm like, I don't want to talk about business, because I do that in all these other places. So what do I want to talk about? And I thought to myself, well, look, everybody loves a good story. So I want to tell a great story, but I don't know what the story is. And so months and months went by, and it wound up being July. And I said, I got it. I'm going to talk about the wedding in Hawaii that my wife never knew was going to happen. And 21 years we've been married in July this year. And it's a really great story. Like, go check it out. I do a video series each year too at the same time, but it's the very first article on my channel, my profile. You have to just scroll over and you'll see it. But each of the articles that I decided to write, with the exception of 2, which I was just testing on, shining my light bright on other speakers that were in a conference that I was a part of. But the other stories were to help you get to know me better. This was way before video. Because, see, I think a lot of people look at LinkedIn as, again, this is my resume, and I have to write it that way. It's your story. Like, and it evolves. The whole thing is your story, right? You hear the word personal branding all the time. And if you dissect it, personal is you. Branding is you. You show up and be you. It's going to happen on its own. You don't need to overthink it. You just need to be you. And I'll share some tips around that, because I think for right now more than ever, it's so important. Yes. So people to have something to hold on to really just start to take some action right away. So anyway, so I again, my gut said I need to be here. And then once you were starting to, because it morphed, like, slowly but surely, it started to take off. Like, you could now post, but there was no way to there was no way to comment. It was just the post was the first part. And then the posting then came to, I think it was, you could like it and then you could comment. That came after. And so for me, it was, I would show up. Now, I was an extreme. Nobody was doing what I was doing. And especially at that time, because I was posting every hour on the hour from 6:30 in the morning until 9:30 at night.
Wow.
Now here's the thing. I had strategy and purpose in what and why and
Sure.
how. So, and just for context, I mean, if it's good just for people to understand, because if it was really powerful in accomplishing what I wanted to. So I'll dissect it real quick just so you understand. So first thing in the morning was a positive quote. Usually a visual positive quote. It's something that I'd find that would speak to me, and it inspired me. I thought if it inspired me, it would inspire at least one person out there. Again, that's always my why, right? So now I didn't just do one. I don't remember how I came up with this number, but I did 3. So 7 days a week, 365, I would post 3 quotes first thing in the morning, 6:30, 6:31, 6:32. And then with the exception of 11 and 12, every other hour was industry-related content that I would find from third parties, other great publications and writers, and I would always give credit to them when I'd find them. Now, I've been in digital marketing, e-commerce, web analytics, web optimization, again, for 20 plus years. And so the cool thing is all of these articles would be about companies and how they were doing things. So it was really insightful. And so I would share those articles, again, at least an hour. It would usually be an hour and a couple minutes. And I usually do it across the top of the hour, because if you think about it, when we're in meetings, we come out of a 30-minute meeting or an hour meeting, what do? We pull out our phone and see who we have messages from, or we go check LinkedIn or whatever right before we go to the next. And so what would happen is a lot of times people would go, there were 2 tones. Early on, it was like, dude, every time I open up LinkedIn, I see you. I'm like, yeah, just block me and then you won't see me anymore on your feed. But that transitioned really fast. And it was like, wow, every time I pull up LinkedIn, I see you. Exactly. Like I am subconsciously in your mind every time, because the odds are you're going to check it probably once a day, maybe something like that, right? But you're going to do it around that timing. So now there's 2 things. With those articles that I was sharing, it had 2 purposes. One was by sharing insights about the industry, my tribe was coming to me for all things in the industry. Mm-hmm. You could go find these wherever you wanted in those publications, but I was culminating them. And because of that, people were coming to me for that insight. So I became valuable to them in terms of insights. And I was also looked at as an expert in my industry.
Yeah, thought leadership.
And that's the exactly. And that's the thing to remember too, right? Is that you don't have to write it to be looked at as a thought leader. Remember, we live in a digital world. What you put out there is perceived and believed. I'm not saying don't be you. Like when the words big data were all the rage, which is the silliest 2 words in the world, like, that's overwhelming. Like, people can't even do a lot with they don't know what to do with all the little data that they have. But like people would come to me and they're like, well, Brian, you're the expert in big data, so we'd love to learn some more. And I'm like, no, I'm not the expert in big data. I'm just sharing what I find because it's insightful to me. And I thought it might be insightful to you too, right? But again, power in showing up. When you show up and you share, that is what is perceived and believed. So 1, insight, value, industry, thought leadership. 2, every time you show up, you see the picture of you, your name, and your headline. In any action you take, commenting, posting, whatever, right? So it had 2 folds. And then 11 o'clock was usually a quote around thought leadership, and 12 o'clock I've always done what's called a midday pump. And it was just because, we get a lull in the midday. We usually do something to pump ourselves up. And I would usually find a quote that would do that. If it would pump me up, again, I figured it would pump somebody else up, and so forth through the rest of the day. So I did that for a long time, while juggling everything else. And people are like, how the heck do you do that? People say to me now, how the heck do you do what you do? And I'm like, look, you make a commitment. We all have the same 24 hours in a day. You decide to or not to.
Yes.
You can come up with every excuse under the sun, but if I can do it, you can do it.
Exactly.
You make a choice, right? So here, let me do this. So 5 quick tips to becoming one of the world's top LinkedIn video creators, okay? And this transcends across platforms. You can absolutely apply this across any platform, but again, now more than ever, from a business point of view, show up where the people are. The people are on LinkedIn. Anyone and everyone you ever want to do business with, they're there. You just have to understand how to show up. So here it is. So tip 1 is show up and be human. You'd probably sit there and go, why wouldn't I do that anyway? I want you to take your phone out, put it in front of you, flip to selfie mode, start talking to yourself. It is not as easy as it sounds, especially if you're going to put it on a business social networking platform.
Mm-hmm.
You come up with every reason in your head going, oh my God, what are people going to think? What are they going to say? Do I look weird? How's my hair? What's going on behind me? That's the other thing too, is right now more than ever, I've had this conversation with so many business owners and teams. It's an even level playing field for everyone right now. We are all sheltered in place. We're all in our homes. We all have hair that is much longer than it usually is. Our kids are running around like lunatics. There is food and toilet paper everywhere. The world is just going bananas in your home, right? We're all going through that. Like, you know, you're sitting on your bed. Great, make a video. Who cares? Like, honestly, it doesn't matter because we're all living in that.
Yeah.
That's relatable, right?
Exactly. And I know for the three of us, Gary Vee, we all very much like his style. The whole idea of, you know, document, don't create is huge. And it's very effective.
No, 100% it is. I'm a huge fan of Gary Vee. I love his vibe. I love his heart. I love his passion, his inspiration. Always have. And it's crazy too, because I get put up into that category of people like Simon Sinek, Gary Vee, and others, which still blows my mind. But around, you bring up a really good point, right? It's something that I always share, which is this: when it comes to, well, it's a good thing to share now in terms of the other one too, which is creating. But in that, getting comfortable being uncomfortable, in showing up and being human, one of the great things that I always recommend is doing a video diary. Like every day, just pull out your phone wherever you are, whatever time you decide you want to do it, when you're feeling the vibe, but do it once a day and just talk to yourself. Keep hitting my mic. Keep talk to yourself. And it doesn't matter how long, it doesn't matter what you're feeling, happy, mad, sad, glad, whatever you're feeling, just get used to pulling out your phone, staring at the little dot. And that's hard too, to not stare at yourself, but stare at the dot, because the dot is where you connect with your, like right now, I'm literally staring at the dot, and because I'm leaning back, and my glasses, you probably can't see where I'm staring, but my point is that's where you connect with your audience. So it gets you into this rhythm of not only pulling out your phone and flipping it, hitting, and if you don't want to stare at yourself, flip your phone the other way. So this is the side you see to stare at the dot. Take a picture of somebody that you love or know makes you feel comfortable right here. Or your dog or your cat or your horse, whatever. Like,
that's genius.
Because then it helps you feel a little more comfortable, and then you're also looking where you need to look, right? But the point of the video diary on a daily basis is twofold. One, it gets you used to the motion of the doing so that you're not uncomfortable about that part. It gets you into the motion of where to look. It gets you into the motion of having that conversation. And the other thing is, by keeping that, just like I always tell people to keep their outtakes, because they're awesome to have bloopers so that people know, hey, look, we're all human. We all screw up. I mean, if I kept all the outtakes, I would literally have content for 5 years. It's crazy. Especially when I was getting started. Like, but in doing that, you may be inspired at some point to repurpose and share that content, because it could inspire somebody else that's going through a moment that you're going through that you have no idea is going through it. And that could inspire them to take the leap and do the same. So showing up and being human, those are different ways that you can go about doing that. So that's tip one. Tip two is engage and support. Again, every company builds a digital playground. We decide to show up, right? It's all about the people. Remember, no matter what platform it is always about the people. It's all about the community. So build community and shine your light bright on others. It's the most important thing you can do. And you don't have to show up on video to do that. You can show up in the comments and engaging. It's such a powerful way to build community. And it's such a powerful way to shine your light bright on others, for example, by tagging people, right?
Yes.
So that's tip two, engage and support. Tip three is create. And I said it earlier, I want to say it again, and it's really, really important because, like I said, I didn't think I had a voice. I didn't think I had a story. You, whoever is listening to this or watching this, and all three of you, have a voice and a story that matters, and a voice and a story that can positively affect, impact, and inspire another human being's life. Show up on video, share your stories. It's all about relatability, like I was talking about earlier, right? Everybody's homes are upside down and there's toilet paper everywhere. Great. That's relatable. Like, So just show up. Like the most important part is just show up, because when you talk about things, and that's the other part, it's like, great, okay, I know I need to show up. What do I talk about? Talk about what you're interested in. Talk about what you're excited about. Talk about what you're passionate about. And in this time more than ever, talk about what you're scared about and vulnerable about right now. Again, we're all feeling those feels. So you always have permission, but you have permission now more than ever, like to share that, because it's something that someone else is feeling and going through right now, and they're not talking about it, and they feel like they're all alone, and they're going to see your video and go, oh my God, I'm not alone. Right. And maybe that person will engage or say, hey, let's get on a video chat, So that's something that can be really helpful. The other thing is that I always say, we all have our own vibes, and your vibes attract your tribe. Right. And I always say pick 5. 5's just a good round number. You can fit it on one hand, and it helps give you some structure. So, you're a parent. Okay. You're a natural leader. You've got the hardest job in the world, the most fulfilling job in the world. You have it for your whole life. You never get paid to do it. And it's incredible, right? Relatable though. That's one of your vibes. Okay. Maybe you love hunting, right? Christopher likes to hunt. You love hunting. He's literally going hunting when we're done. He's got his gear on.
Yes. And
there you go. Maybe you love podcasting, right? That's your thing. And maybe you love mountain biking. Again, I'm just throwing random stuff out. Maybe you love to read. Maybe you're a speaker. You love that, but find 5. Those are your lanes of content. You can go down any one of these lanes anytime you want, but it gives you structure versus like squirrel. And I don't know what I'm going to talk today. All right, maybe it's this. I mean, and we'll talk about consistency, which is the next tip in a second. But so that gives you some structure in creation, right? And remember that inspiration doesn't hit all the time. It's a rare thing. I mean, I've made almost 600 videos on LinkedIn, and I can count on 2 hands the number of times I've ever talked about business. It was never about that. It was about the people for me. I love bringing people together. Forbes called me the king of community, I think is what it was. And it's right. Like I truly love bringing people together, because incredible things happen when we come together. So just keep that stuff in mind as you're forming. It'll help give you some structure. And then also remember, for native video, meaning I make a video, it's then in my phone, and then I upload it somewhere after. It's a start and a stop, versus live, which is longer and more consistent. 60 seconds or less is your best friend, especially for LinkedIn video. Why? If you're scrolling through your feed, you're going to see a lot of videos that are popping up from people, because there's no video tab. We still don't have that yet. But when you're scrolling, what's going to get you to stop? Visually, and you'll also look to see, how long is this?
Yep.
Everyone has 60 seconds, but if you go into a couple minutes, especially if people don't know who you are, and I say they haven't seen you show up on video yet, they're not going to watch it.
Yeah.
So you can say a lot in 60 seconds. Just make sure, if you're not doing any editing, just make sure that, and this is something you should always do, especially with your video diaries too. Before you hit record, smile first. Get into a habit of smile first, then hit record. Smile, laugh, right? And remind yourself to smile as you're talking too. It's a little weird and uncomfortable, because maybe you're not used to doing something like that. I know that too, because I didn't. Your cheeks start to hurt a little bit, but it draws people in, smiles. We all have incredible smiles. They're your own. They're part of your trademark, right? So make sure you do that. Okay. Tip 4 is be consistent. Consistency is key to success in anything.
Yes.
Okay. Create a content strategy and a calendar to create a level of consistency that works for you. Calendar, like, on your phone, on your wall, old school, whatever. Because when you show up consistently, your tribe knows when you're going to show up. Now, my consistency isn't the same for Michael or Christopher or John Michael. Find a groove that works for you. Example, because I love examples. Video. All right, I'm going to make 1 video a week. It's going to be Wednesday at 6 o'clock. Great. Hold yourself accountable to that. That's your series. And maybe when we're done, you know, John Michael's like, wow, this is so inspiring. I want to go talk about being a dad because Brian said I can do that. And so I'm going to make like a video about that. And then I'm going to go outside and shoot another video talking about life. He's like, John Michael's like, I'm going to make 5 videos because I've got all these ideas in my head. Great. That means you've got 5 weeks of content if you're posting one video every Wednesday at 6, right? That's how you create the consistency, by the way, because when you're inspired, suck that inspiration until it's gone. Bank it. Store it in your phone. So I do everything on my phone, even all my editing and everything, with the exception of like intricate collaborations, which I'll do on my laptop. But that's how you'll create the consistency. Okay. So when you have it, go with it. The other thing is, remember this, and yeah, well, we're confined in our homes, but like, let's say that isn't the case. And even if it is right now, you're in different parts of your home, you're outside versus inside, different inspirations, right? Know that if you pay attention to what is happening around you, if you have a heightened sense of awareness, because I'll work with a lot of folks who are been creators for a long time and they get into a drought. Like, I feel like I'm saying the same thing all the time. Pay attention to everything that's happening around you. There is inspiration around you every day, every second. You just have to pay attention to what's happening. You see a bird that just flew off a flower or something and you're like, whoa, I just got an idea. Like, I mean, and normally you wouldn't even pay attention to that, right? I think we're all paying attention to things in a very different way right now, being paused, right?
Yeah.
So that was for, the last one is collaborate. That's what we're doing right now.
Exactly.
Incredible things happen when we come together. And even though we can't physically be together in person, technology has empowered us to come together in so many amazing ways. Take advantage of that. Zooms, FaceTimes, live video, native video, like, you know, you've got all these incredible ways to be able to come together. And I'll hit you with a couple remembers that I think are important. Simon Sinek really said it really well. He said, people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. Remember, here, it all comes from here. And digitally, just in transforming things, especially in this quarantine world that we're in, remember that your smile is now your logo. Your personality is now your business card. And how you leave other people feeling after that experience with you through video, native, live, okay, that's your trademark. And I'll tie it on a knot with this, and I think Maya Angelou said it best, because it's really easy for us to get caught in our head, and God, it happened to me so many times in the early couple of years, where I had a message I wanted to get across, and it had to be right, and it's like I was hanging on every single word, and I felt like I couldn't get it right. We're our own worst critics, by the way. Nobody cares. It's us. People may forget what you say, but they will never forget how you make them feel. Remember that video is all about the feels. It's all about the emotion. It's all about that. That's how we're connecting, like I said, because all the senses are there with video. Like I said, we can't touch them, we can't smell them, but you can touch people. You can touch people with video through your heart. And whether you're a business or an individual, whether you're an entrepreneur or you're somebody in sales or in customer service or you're a janitor, like it doesn't matter what you're a human being with a heartbeat, and you showing up has the ability to connect with people. And that's why I always say, like, business is 10% of what you should be talking about when you show up on video, like in the scheme of your whole strategy, because that's not what's connecting people with. Right. Like, I've been flown around the world to go do keynotes that are sponsored by brands. Forbes featured, Thrive Global featured, started a company. Oh my gosh, so many amazing, incredible human beings that I've met along my journey just by showing up on video that have created opportunities that have nothing to do. I had early days had been making a bunch of videos, and Miguel Forbes, he's the chairman of Forbes, showed up on LinkedIn. He hadn't been on LinkedIn. He was in other places, and he showed up and he got slammed with I want to be on the 30 under 30, 40 under 40, 20 under 20. And LinkedIn would not they didn't think it was him. They thought it was a bot. And he got blocked. He got blocked. And he's like, LinkedIn, this is me. And they didn't believe it was him. And he's like, I'm out. And he left. And then he came back and he did a post and he said, you know, this is what happened. And he said, but I came back because of creators like, and I was one of the people that he named, and I was sitting there totally dumbfounded going, I don't understand. I'm just some guy bringing people together, having fun in videos on LinkedIn. Like, and I didn't think that I was providing value. It was just, again, I want to bring people together and let's have fun together. Right. And it kind of clicked for me. And it was that point of that I said earlier is this is about the people. It's about us coming together and having these amazing experiences. And it's the experiences that we have that create additional opportunities to come together and do great things, just like you guys did. So I'm going to shut up now.
Yeah. Oh no, you're good.
That's
Yeah.
fantastic.
Thank you for the 5 tips. I think, you know, especially a lot of our listeners are really going to appreciate that. You know, everybody's trying to make the best out of the situation right now, you know, whether they're a business and a startup opportunity, et cetera. And, you know, it's a really good door to being successful from someone who's, you know, posting regularly and getting a lot of feedback. So, you know, that's really, really quality, you know, conversation content that you brought there. I appreciate it.
I know I learned a lot myself.
Yeah.
I learned a lot. I'm inspired already. Like, I'm loving this. This is fantastic.
That's awesome. No,
And for all the listeners out there who can't see, Brian is LinkedIn crazy. He's got the hat and the water bottle in the background. Don't think I didn't see that. LinkedIn branded everything.
Yeah.
You're like a walking billboard.
I am a walking billboard for them, but and it's not because they pay me to do that or anything like that. It's honestly, it's because, again, the impact that's had the impact that people have had on my life. I'm talking about the people on LinkedIn, right?
Yeah.
Like, this is my family. It's really weird. People that were LinkedIn fam all the time, and you're like, this is a business social networking platform. What are you talking about? And there was someone that showed up on a series I do called Shout Out Saturday. I do 2 on a weekly basis, Shout Out Saturday and What's Good Wednesday, and they're both 2 years old now. And on Shout Out Saturday, she was relatively new to the platform at times. She was an Emmy Award-winning newscaster, and she's like, this is incredible. I've never seen so much love, support, and encouragement on any digital platform. Like, we need to keep that going. And that was the whole point of it, right? That is what it is all about. And in these times now more than ever, I want to add one more thing that is so incredibly important for anyone in business. Whatever marketing plan you had and however long it took you to get it all the way up until COVID, if you haven't trashed it yet, you need to light that on fire and never go back to it. Because it is completely irrelevant. And when we come out of this, eventually, it will be completely irrelevant, because we are in a new world now, and we will have a brand new normal coming out of this. The most important thing you can do right now in these times, and I've had this conversation with so many CEOs and their teams, is this. We are all living with our chest cracked open and our hearts beating wide out of our chests. We are not living here. We are living here. And by the way, we need to be living here all the time anyway. But in these times, more than ever, human first, heart first. Care about your people. Care about your customers. Care about your prospects. Care about your partners. Care and give and go the extra mile right now more than ever for however long it has to take, and take the hit financially. Because if you don't do that, you will lose your customers, you will lose your business, you will lose your prospects, you will lose your employees, you will lose your partners for life. Because if you're just showing up trying to do business in a world that you think is what it used to be, no, it's not going to work. And I see people doing it, and I'm just like, what are you doing? Like, are you not paying attention to what's happening right now? You know, you have to evolve. You have to pivot. If you are not pivoting, game over. So show up with your heart. Care about people. Evolve your content to that as well. It needs to be coming from here. It doesn't have to all be organically yours either. You know, I will say, like, on LinkedIn, there is much more leniency than a Facebook. Like, if you're resharing something on Facebook, you're good. if you're, I mean, you guys know, like if you show up on Facebook, whether you're live or whether you're on, you know, doing a video or whatever, and there's any kind of music in the background and Facebook kind of hears that at all, your video gets triggered. It won't post. And you have to go through multi-step process to go, no, it's okay. No, it's okay. No. Do you have rights to this, that, and the other? LinkedIn isn't that way. Not yet. All you have to do is give credit. Give credit to whoever it is. I've posted a number of videos recently that I found that on other platforms that are just, they're incredible. Like they hit you right here, and it's people coming together, and, you know, so you can share those. Don't share them as a link. Here's another quick tip. LinkedIn does not like third-party links. Why? Because they take you off the platform.
Yep.
Every digital platform wants you to stay there as long as possible.
Yep.
So that's when I say native, that means you upload a video. So if you're screen capturing a video or you download a video, right? Again, just make sure you give credit to whoever it is in the body of the post when you're sharing it. But weave that kind of stuff in as well to your content mix. Again, it's a different time that we're living in. But just please, I implore you, just show up and be human with a heart and help anyone as much as you can, just for the sake of helping someone, because you can. You know, we're all scared to death right now. Like, know that. Just ask the question, how are you doing? How can I help? You know, and reach out to people just because, you know.
Yeah.
I get, yeah, you know, I mean, I'll get those messages from people. Hey, how are you? These times we're in it, and I'm starting to read it, and I'm like, oh God, here we go. They're gonna start selling me something. Like that's the way they start it, and then they go into like some kind of a. I'm like, you know, you were on the right foot, and then you just fell off the ledge. Like, cut the whole bottom part off. Just reach out and say, hey, I hope you're doing well. I'm sending you all the good vibes. I hope you and your family near and far are staying safe. You know, and send them a gift to go with it. You know, gifts are great, by the way.
I love that. I remember you sent me a Mr. Beans one. I was a huge fan. Yeah, you sent me like 3 different gifts on LinkedIn. It was amazing. Great. I was like, no one does that. Like, I'm really glad you did that. That meant a lot.
Yeah.
No one does that.
That's a big thing right now, just being there for each other. But yeah, that's a great testament. But yeah, I think we're getting close to running out of time. But yeah, thank you for all of your your input and thoughts. And I think you're a great thought leader, especially for LinkedIn, but also just for people having a positive attitude and in the day to day. But just kind of to end on a fun note, I think you kind of hinted at it earlier. But if what's the number one thing on your wish list right now?
Sorry, say it again. My kids just walked in.
Good.
Say it again.
You're good. What's the number one thing on your wish list right now for the next LinkedIn feature?
Oh, yeah. I mean, they need a tab for video. And it's just like, if you could segment on YouTube and such. I don't know why they haven't done it yet, but I would say video, which would incorporate native and live, so that they both of those would. I mean, it'd be cool if they segmented both, but I'll go for just a video tab. That way, anybody that wants to see because there's somebody like me where I have over 600 videos or almost 600 videos, and then so much other content. It's like, yeah, you could associate a hashtag to it just for videos and say, go search this hashtag, you'll find it. But a tab would be great. So I want to leave your listeners with 2 quick things. Okay, one is if you're a newbie to LinkedIn, or you've been around for a while, meaning you had a profile, but you didn't realize it. It's an engagement platform. I have a free LinkedIn Jumpstart Masterclass. It's 15 free lessons I put together with a good friend of mine. It's filled with nuggets. So again, completely free, and you can, at your own leisure, you can go through it. The other one is, if you have questions about how to LinkedIn video, be it native or live, for you or your business, especially during these times that we're in, you want to talk video strategy, I would love to chat with you guys. So you can schedule a free 15-minute consultation with me. It's calendly.com/voiceyourvibe. The guys will have this in the show notes for you.
Yes.
And I mean, this one, not as relevant because I don't know when this is going to air, but literally today, I was speaking at a 3-day leap into live streaming boot camp it started April 29th, goes through May 1st. I'm doing a live Q&A tomorrow because today is the 30th. But my session was today. Truly honored to be sharing the stage with over 40 speakers, incredible human beings, experts in their crafts. My session was on LinkedIn Live, how video and live video on LinkedIn can amplify your reach and grow your business. There were almost 2,500 people registered for my session. I know that you can still get access to it, I think after, but I think then you start paying for it. For the 3 days, it's free. So again, I don't know when this is airing, so maybe past that, but I'll make sure you guys have the link to that too if you do want to check it out. But I want to make sure that I gave that to you guys. And
thank you so much. Yeah, we'll throw up all of your socials, the master class, and your Calendly link.
Definitely want to encourage all of our listeners and viewers to check Brian out. He's awesome. Honored to have him on here. We're going to be providing links and all of that for sure. To check him out, follow his content, etc. So definitely do that. Sure. Definitely recommend that.
Yeah, and if you reach out to connect on LinkedIn, just make sure you send a personalized invite and let me know that you heard me on the show today, because I have thousands of invites in my connect box, and most people don't even send a personalized message. So I want to make sure I don't miss you.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time, Brian. Thank you for coming on the show. I know we really enjoyed talking, and hopefully we'll be able to get you back. Maybe get your daughter on here too. She'll have a different story at that time.
No, I love it.
Promoting her book or something. Yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you, guys. Awesome. I totally appreciate you and appreciate you and your listeners, your tribe. It's been an amazing time with you. So thanks so much.
Likewise.
Thank you for all your work and just who you are.
Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you, guys. And again, everybody stay safe.
Yeah. Yes. Awesome. Well, thank you everyone for listening. We'll catch you next episode.
Awesome. Don't leave. I need to take a picture of us when we're done.
Sounds good.